Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here with you as always. This is a live morning space for artists, filmmakers, musicians, and creators who are navigating the real world of making art. On this show, we talk about positivity, but not the fluffy kind. We talk about what actually stops artists from moving forward, the struggles we all face, and how to move through them with clarity and purpose. We'll also highlight good things happening in the industry, share ideas, suggestions, and practical advice, and most importantly, have honest conversations. This is a live show, so if you're here, feel free to ask questions or join in. This is a place to reset, get grounded, and start the day moving forward as an artist. And good morning, everyone, and welcome in. Hope you're all doing well. It is Thursday. We're almost at Friday. Everyone is waiting for Friday, and tomorrow is Friday. Okay. Just want to quickly, because Valentine's Day is coming up, right? It's on the 14th, as it is every single year. And my daughter made me this last night. She said it's a little early. She said couldn't wait, and it feels very nice. It's not just paper. It's just very velvety kind of paper. It sounds really good. So it says, "Dad, Happy Valentine's Day." So that's from my daughter. That's very sweet. I told her I would show that on the show. So happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there. Hope you're doing well. And oh, we dropped a little thing fell. Maybe I can put that on my jacket. Fell off the heart. I'll leave that there. Do 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 ding ding. Anyway, hope you're all doing well out there. We're gonna have a great show today. We're talking about something that I think is really a hot topic these days, uh, for for the industry, for the entertainment industry, and that we're going to talk about ethics. You know, it doesn't get talked about a lot publicly, but when you're in conversations with people in the industry, ethics, morals, integrity, all these things always come up. And it's a major thing. And you start realizing, oh, you know what? This is a bigger button, a bigger thing than people are really uh, putting out there, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, it doesn't get publicized enough about how integrity is a big part of longevity in an industry that really operates sometimes with very low morals. And as we can see, what's currently happening right now, it is a disaster when it comes to ethics and morals and integrity and just nice, clean people. I mean, for the love of God, what are you doing, yo? And so, ethics and representation, when you're representing someone, and it becomes a really big question that you should be asking if you're signing with a representation company. In today's entertainment industry, representation is no longer just about booking gigs and negotiating contracts. It's about alignment. And when we had the pop star uh, Chappell, is that how you pronounce his name? Chappell Roan choose to leave a major agency over ethical conflicts, it sent a clear message across the industry. Artists are paying attention to who represents them and what those representatives stand for. This move reflects a broader shift where creatives are prioritizing integrity, transparency, and shared values over the prestige of a big name firm. That's the allure. That's the allure. Like, whoa, that's a big agency, and you start hanging your hat on that, and you start just thinking that that's the all in all, because they're a big agency, that they're going to have your best interest in mind. I always look at it like, because they're a big agency, they can't. They just need to make money. They're a big agency. They got a lot of things to pay for. There's a big overhead on a big agency. So they need to squeeze as much out of everyone as they possibly can. And if you have a rep that's not ethical, and I'm not saying all reps are like that. I know a lot of reps, and they have high morals. I've also been burnt. I've been burned once by a rep that I took care of, with social media marketing campaign that I to expose him and his agency, and his agency was fined, and they actually did go out of business, because I don't play that. I did fall for it, but then after I realized and I read the fine print, I realized I have a case here, and I'm not falling for it again. And I have not fallen for it again. And I'm signed right now with the Talent Trek Agency, and I've been with them for about a year. Is it a year? Yeah, it's a year. No, it's a little bit more than a year. No, it's about a year. I don't know. But during that time, I've actually been able to get some good auditions and have a lot of fun. And my agent is a very nice person, and I've met with him, hung out with him a little bit, and you can just see it. You can feel that there's integrity there, and he's been doing it for 20 years. He's been doing it. So obviously there'd be some black hole somewhere if somebody was behaving, there'd be somewhere where you can research, right? For artists watching this unfold, this whole idea of getting uh, more integrity and ethics within representation, the takeaway is powerful. Your brand is more than your music, film, or performance. It's your character and convictions. Audiences today are deeply informed and socially aware. They research, they follow the headlines, and they expect authenticity. That is so true. Audiences today demand authenticity. They demand that someone gives them exactly who they are. With this whole AI world now, it's very difficult, or not really difficult, because you can spot a fake AI video or photo. I just shared a video today, a story on my Instagram. If y'all want to take a look at it, on how to actually spot fake AI video on fake AI photos. Photos are mostly what are being used right now by AI because that's their biggest flex. Videos are a long way. You can really tell a fake video now, right now. But if you don't know, follow this post that I sent on Instagram, a story, and then follow that account, because that account, that's all they do. They have over almost 500,000 followers on there, and all they do is spot fake AI stuff and show you how to stuff about AI. Um, but audiences want authenticity. The team you surround yourself with, your agents, your managers, your publicists, they become an extension of your voice. If there's misalignment, it can dilute trust with your audience. Increasingly, artists are realizing that long term credibility outweighs short term opportunity. That's the that and that again, I was talking about allure, about a big agency. Well, the allure also comes with the idea that you can have short-term success. That short-term success can be very enticing if they can say, well, here, we're going to give you this amount of money, and we're going to put you on these networks, and we're going to do a video for you, and then we're going to have your song out there. We're gonna get your numbers up, and we're gonna, and you're gonna be able to leave your job, whatever you're doing during the day. You're gonna be able to focus on this 100%. That is because that is, ooh man, there is an allure there, and that short term success will get you. The idea that next week you can be making money doing the thing that you love to do more than anything can be so enticing that you will. And this is what they talk about, selling your soul. you know and it's not that these some of these young people are consciously going in and selling their souls. It's that they're being promised something that's very exciting to them, and they want to actually dive in. This is something they've been working on for so long, and now here's the opportunity. Man, they cannot not do it. It is too tasty. It is too exciting. So they go for it. This is the moment when that opportunity comes. It's when you got to take a deep breath, and then you got to think to yourself, "Oh man, oh man, is this going to hurt me? Is this going to be something that I'm going to regret later on?" And then ask questions. It's okay if they want you. And if they say, look, you're asking too many questions, this isn't going to work out. Wow, you saved yourself. because that is a huge red flag when an agency dismisses you because you're asking questions. That's a big red flag. Y'all got to check those out. Okay. Now, I've, been doing this show for years, and I've interviewed legendary musicians, rock and roll Hall of Fame musicians, award-winning filmmakers, and business, like high-level business individuals. I've interviewed them, and one of the themes that are consistent within all these is about legacy, about how legacy matters. The artists who last are the ones who protect their name. They protect their name as fiercely as their art. And the guy Chappell Roan's decision is a reminder that success isn't just about scale; it's about standards. In 2026 and beyond, ethics, ethics and representation aren't side conversations. They're central to building a career that endures. And that's what people want, really. I mean, do you want like tremendous success for a year and then never have it again? Because that's what's happening. And a lot of these artists that are sort of selling their soul and sort of are out there, and the machine is sort of sweeping them up and putting them in front of people, and they're playing the game. So the industry is going to give them all the love. As soon as they stop playing that game, as soon as they ask questions about anything, they're done. They'll pull the plug and you're out of here. You are gone. You can name so many artists that have wanted to increase their integrity and say, like, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something a little bit more real. I want to do my own thing. And they're like, no, 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 no. You don't do your own thing. We made you the way like this. This is why you have the success with what we're doing. And you're going to keep doing this. And as soon as you start pushing back, you are gone. They will not start pushing your records. They will pull all the money. They will pull all the everything. Now you have a name. You have a name, so you have something. But if you're signed to a contract, you can't go out and do anything. You can't go make any more money anywhere else. You're tied. You're stuck. Remember, I did a show on this, about how much money, about you can look at the past shows about money and what you actually get. And if you're tied to a contract that really screws you, then they're protected. They're basically supporting you. You're not supporting yourself with your music. They're the industry, the companies, the representations. They're the ones that are supporting you. As soon as you start asking questions to your reps, they're gonna pull the plug, and then you can't support yourself because you still owe them a tremendous amount of money. Now, yes, you might have, you might be one of these major celebrities, but you're still trapped. You're still trapped in the web of evil, and asking questions should not be something uh, that hurts you. It should be something that you have a right to do. But I hear it so often when I talk to people. They just couldn't stay with that agency. They're either they have ethics, or they're religious, and they just felt like they want me to wear something scandalous. They want me to say words that I don't want to say. And I decided to leave I decided to leave that agency. As soon as you left the agency, well, you owe them money if you signed, and they gave you a bonus, right? That upfront signing bonus that you hear about, that ain't your money. That's their money. They're lending you that money. You got to pay them back every single dime. And how do you pay them back? By selling records, and by going on tour, and by selling t-shirts, and by selling products, whatever it is. That's how you make it. And what's the percentage? It's so small what you get, and you have to pay them back out of that money, out of what you make. They have to pay. So if you make $100,000, they're gonna take 80. If you don't believe me, go research this on your own. It is tragic what has happened to some artists here. And if you go out and promote your own music, well, look what Spotify is doing, right? You get 100,000 streams, you get $300. I know most artists I know don't get 100,000 streams per month, every single month, just to make $300 where you cannot survive. It barely gets you food for one person for a month. You can't survive on that. So, but yet that platform itself is making billions of dollars, where the CEO has made billions of dollars. Now it's their platform; they can do whatever they want. We're talking about ethics and integrity here, right? So they don't. Then that's not really part of the business model, right? They don't have that in the fine print. It's not in the terms and conditions that we will treat everyone with ethics and make sure that they get their fair share, and that they uh, that their music, if it's really good and people really like it, there's some voting system that pays them more, right? It should be on merit. It shouldn't be on anything else. If a person is talented and the song is good, I don't care what the genre is. If it's a good song that people like it, and enough people start clicking the approving button, whatever it is on these platforms, that artist should make more money. It's just as simple as that. But that's not what they have. They also keep they also keep all your contacts. So if somebody signs up to follow you, you don't have that person's email, you don't have their address, you don't have anything. You don't know who they are. But Spotify does, because Spotify is going to sell them stuff. Spotify is going to, and listen, I'm not being, I don't want to sound hypocritical, because I would be if I don't say this. I have a Spotify account. I have a Spotify playlist that I put together. I don't rely on Spotify to make money. My cat's meowing. Um, I don't rely on Spotify to make money, but I know a lot of artists that do. And that's when it becomes really sad, because they're relying on and unfortunately, they're just not getting there. YouTube is also a great platform, the second largest search engine. YouTube um, beat out legacy media, regular television, um, recently, just on viewership. First time in history that happened last year where that happened. And it's showing that streaming and these platforms are really going to be in control pretty much for in the future. And if you're not aware of who you're signing with, well, they're going to put you on any of these platforms and you're not going to have any control over your audience. And that's really, remember, the mailing list and having control of your audience is a major thing, but they don't give you that. So you're so tied, you're so tied into them. Now, unless you make a big splash and you're a huge household name and you get to play, stadiums, and you have a name, maybe if you go into some contract negotiations, maybe you didn't sign a 10-year deal, or you signed a 1-year deal, and you blew up by some coincidence. Maybe they didn't have any faith that you would blow up and you did. And now you have some leverage where you can negotiate. You can go back in a year and say, well, I want this. Well, we're not going to have that. All right, fine. Well, I'm going to go somewhere else. Wait, wait. What do you want? And then you have some leverage, right? This is what happened with Prince. Remember, Prince decided, he's like, no, I want to do my own thing. They're like, well, no, we don't do it that way. You owe us an album. And he said, well, I'm not Prince anymore. Huh? No, I'm this symbol, the artist. And they started going the name as the artist, formerly known as Prince. And then he became the artist. And he started putting out records. And then the record label was like, all right, fine. They negotiated. He owed them one record. He gave them a record. He just threw it together and gave it to them, which turned out to be a really great record, actually, funny enough. But Prince, I don't think Prince can make a bad record, or could make a bad. I miss that guy. Miss Prince a lot. But you know, he had to push and push. There was other places like Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam had a whole thing with their label, and they started putting out live records on their own, just recording them and putting them on. And their record company was like, "What are you doing? You can't do that." He goes, "Well, if we own our lives, then we can do whatever we want with our lives." And that became a big thing, And you can go research those stories. Very fascinating when an artist wants to, have their ethics in, and wants to morally have a career that they can stand on and have longevity, because longevity is the key thing. If you can be here in 25 years of being an artist, that's a beautiful thing. But how many artists are we going to have longevity with? We have a few of them, but they kind of fade into this world of like, yes, they have an audience, but they're not we're not waiting for their new record to drop because there are no records anymore, right? There's singles and waiting for it to stream and pre-save a stream and those things. It's just not as exciting as like, oh, like Billy Joel's got a new record coming out, or Elton John's got a new record coming out, or if you're gonna go, earlier than that, you can remember Nirvana and remember Pearl Jam, and these are, in 90, I would say 95, 96, things started changing. By 2000s, they were really, really different. And by mid 2000s, 2005, the industry was unrecognizable when it came to what the artist had control of and what was exciting about it. Why are we so excited about this? Well, it's just a sad thing, and this is why I do these shows, to give you a viewpoint, maybe just to, and maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think like, no, you need the big record labels in order to really make some serious money. Well, if you really believe that, you need to research a little bit more about what is this big money that you're talking about, because there are a lot of artists that are signed to major, major labels that I guarantee you do not know who they are, and they're signed, but they have to pay them back whatever they paid them. If they paid them $500,000 to go on tour, that $500,000 is being, they have to pay that back. Not only do they have to pay that back, but the recording of their record, they get charged that as well. So you get $500,000, and then it costs you, let's say, $100,000 to $200,000 to record your record. Now you're in for 700,000. Now they're gonna put a tour together, so they got to get a bus, they got to get musicians. They got to pay the musicians. They got to promote it. There's another, could be another 500,000 just to promote a whole huge tour cross country and with the bus and everything, and getting session musicians to come with you, the lighting crew, the whole thing. There's another 500,000. So by the time you're in for a $1.2 million, you're in the hole, and you haven't made one dime. Now your whole career is trying to pay back this one. There are bands out there. Research the stories. You will be shocked at how many bands are out there touring, playing big places because they have to, because they have no money and they got to pay back this thing, and they know when they have to pay back. They have another 12 years of playing live, where we should be able to be caught up, and we should be start making money in about 12 years. This is a true thing. Go out there and research them, and go to ChatGPT and just ask questions about this. It's going to give you some shocking numbers and some artists that you've never heard of, that have been out there for quite some time trying to make enough money to pay back. And then if their record doesn't hit, then they just owe this money. How do you pay this money? We got to get a band together. We got to pay this money back. It's going to go on. I mean, talk about a bad credit rating, right? It's a trap. And it's been going on for a very, very long time. We used to have the five major record labels, right? Then streaming came up, and social media and peer to peer music. That kind of trashed a lot of the agencies. They fell asleep. Then iTunes came in, and then first Napster, right? LimeWire, Napster. Then the courts got involved there, which they should have got involved there, because that was a little bit. That was like the wild wild west of music. And then iTunes came into play. Then Spotify kind of like took over. But there's other platforms out there, that you can get music on, SoundCloud and a lot of other places, and YouTube. So the music is everywhere right now, and now with AI creating music and getting all these, there's Spotify AI channels that have millions of views. Is it because people love it so much, or is it because there's some other entity creating that in the back end and just getting all the money, because they don't have any humans to pay? There's no artists. Now the artists will never go on tour, right? So they're not going to make any money on that, but they'll figure out a way to manipulate the people to fool them. Just get a bunch of musicians learn the songs that AI created and then have them go on tour and pretend to be that band. I see it happening. I see that happening. All right, friends, I want to thank you very much. As always, it is a pleasure to be here with you in the morning. And I do these shows. A lot of them, people think like, oh, I get complimented sometimes, not often, but sometimes people say, oh, what you're doing is so nice. It's so cool that you're doing this for people and that you're, presenting this and giving people a perspective and helping artists. But a lot of what people don't understand is that I'm an artist and I do this, a lot of it, because it actually does revitalize even my own purpose. It is an affirmation sometimes for myself. It's so I can keep myself safe. Whatever's in my head, I try to think, okay, this is what I need to work on. This is what I need to do. These are the kind of people I want to be associated with. I want to be associated with morally high moral individuals that want longevity and want to be around and want to spread good music. That's what I want to attach myself to. And people say, well, gosh, good luck. There's not that. I've had people tell me that. No, they're out there. I guarantee you that they're out there. Because the movement has to happen. And the movement is happening right now. And if you can see some of the language of some of the artists that are coming up, is it necessary? Not really. Sort of like just the shock value that is no longer shocking anymore. And you can't get any real radio play or anything like that. You can't get any, it's just like the shock value, right? And you get your little sticker, explicit lyrics on your album, and that makes you edgy. Well, I'd love to reverse that, have a sticker that says that it's not that, somehow, something that not that it's clean, because we're not talking about clean here. Where you can have art that's edgy and you can have art that says things that are maybe people can disagree with. You go back to Bob Dylan and you go back to Crosby, Stills and Nash, back when music was made by, a pen, a paper, and a guitar. And you hear some of those lyrics and they're like, wow, I can't believe they got away with saying that. I'm not talking about vulgarity. That's a difference. There's a difference. I'm talking about vulgarity. I'm talking about making very impactful points. And that can be shocking if you hear someone singing a song that is very current with what's currently happening in the world, but it's very bold in saying, making statements with no vulgarity at all. That can happen. And it is happening right now. Unfortunately, we don't hear a lot of it. It is happening, and that's the wonderful thing about art, that it's always happening. It's always happening. It's always beautiful. There are always people out there that are morally intact, that are ethical, that love their audience, that are building an audience, that go out there and they do their thing. They may not have millions coming to their shows every year to watch them, but they have something even more special. They have themselves. They have their integrity. When you have yourself, when you have your integrity, there's nothing higher than that. No amount of money. People can laugh and be like, oh yeah, right. You give me $10 million? Yeah. But you lost your soul. And someday you'll be lying in bed, unable to move because you're too old. And you have to then think, well, now what? The money is gone. The audiences are gone. I can't move. I'm about to leave this world and go to the next world. Did I do the highest level of service to this planet while I was here? Did I serve others or did I just serve myself? And with those eyes closed for the last time, you're going to have to sit with that. And it can be very, very sad. And there are a lot of stories like people on their deathbed. They just too late. Too late. If you have a chance now, think about what I'm saying, and I wish you well. All right, friends. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. And take care of yourself and take care of each other. We're all we have, right? God bless. And as always,